Hey guys, my name is John with EB3.Work, and in this video we're going to talk about EB3 visa retrogression. What is it and how does it work? First of all, though, on our YouTube channel, we provide educational videos about the EB3 visa process. So if that's something you're interested in and learning more about, we definitely encourage you to subscribe. And if the video is helpful, please give it a like. And definitely leave comments below any questions you have. We do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about what is EB3 visa retrogression. And very simply, retrogression means that your priority date is not current in the Visa Bulletin. In our knowledge base and our website, I'm on the page right now, and I'm just going to kind of highlight that. So this is the simple definition. Retrogression means that your priority date is not current in the Visa Bulletin. So now what is your priority date? It's important to define that, and I'll highlight this as well. Your priority date is the date when your perm is filed with the Department of Labor. Perm is also called labor certification. And the date that your perm is filed with the Department of Labor, that establishes your priority date. So EB3 retrogression means that we have to look at the Visa Bulletin. So if you Google Visa Bulletin, the first result should be U.S. Department of States.gov. So we'll click on that, and we can look at the current Visa Bulletin. We're in March right now. This is employment-based. And so we scroll down past the family-sponsored to employment-based preferences right there. Now, there are two tables. The first one is called final action dates. The second one is called dates for filing. And we have to click on this little link each month, and it tells us which table to look at. So current month, employment-based, you must use the final action dates chart. So we'll go back, and we have to use the final action dates chart, which means that we're going to look at this chart right here. Now, this chart right here. Now, EB3, unskilled, which is what we deal with, where it doesn't mean that you're unskilled. It means that the position does not have more than 2 years of experience required. So generally speaking, these are entry-level positions in the other worker category, and that's what we work with. So the date here is the cutoff date, the priority dates cutoff. And so if your perm was filed before this date, which is February 1st, 2021, then you can proceed to your final step, which is either adjustment of status or consular processing. If your priority date is after this date, February 1st, 2021, then you have to wait and check the Visa Bulletin next month. Now, this is frustrating. Retrogression is not a great thing because it means that we have to wait. So we get the perm filed that establishes your priority date. Once the perm is approved, we file the I-140, and then we look at the Visa Bulletin to see when we can file either your adjustment of status or your consular processing. And we have to abide by this cutoff date here. So when it's not current, and C means current, then it's in retrogression. So this is when you hear EB3 visa retrogression or Visa Bulletin retrogression, this is what it means. Now, people get frustrated. Right now, we're in retrogression, which means that people have to wait. However, the Visa Bulletin is not always in retrogression, and this is an important point. In fact, you can go back. If you go back and you look at previous years, for example, we go to October 2020, we can take a look. Scroll down to employment-based, we can see they're all current. There's no retrogression in either table, final action dates or dates for filing. And so, it's a little counterintuitive. When the priority dates are current, and things are moving quickly, more people apply. And as more people apply, because it's a supply and demand issue, then retrogression occurs. So conversely, if you look at the Visa Bulletin now, people get frustrated with the retrogression and they don't apply. And when people don't apply, then they'll get through the numbers and they'll be current again. So it's this kind of pendulum swinging slowly back and forth. It goes from current to retrogression to where people say it's too long, I don't want to do it. And then they work through the numbers and it gets back to current again. And so, the EB3 visa, it's not a quick solution right now. It's not, so if you're, deciding on whether you should do it or not, and quickness is a high priority, then I don't know, that it's not going to be quick. However, if you want to be a permanent resident, and whether it takes 3 years or 4 years, it doesn't really matter to you. You just want to be a permanent resident, then there's really no benefit in waiting. So I hope that helps explain things. Definitely, if you have any comments, any questions, leave them below. We really don't do predictions. People often ask us, what do you think it'll be next month or next year? I kind of gave our general philosophy on it, where it's a supply and demand issue. And when there's retrogression, demand goes down. And when it's currents, demand goes up. And so it swings back and forth. So, we don't know what it's going to be next month. And anybody that tells you they do is lying, because nobody has a crystal ball. They're just making speculative predictions. And that's not something that we do. So, we're not really able to answer that question. But any technical questions, we're happy to. And hope this is helpful. And we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.